Ethnic Day at the 1893 Chicago World's Fair was a day dedicated to Black people after much protest when they were excluded from most events. Protests came after most Black events had to pass an all-white screening before they are allowed to be displayed to the public. This exclusion did not sit well with Black advocates like Ida B. Wells and Frederick Douglass and eventually led to protests. These protests led the authorities of the fair to come to Frederick Douglass and asked him to arrange an ethnic day. Although seemingly inclusive to Black people, the ethnic day felt as if that the fair was shamed into recognizing the presence of Black Americans. It was important at the World's Fair to recognize Black people because of the stigma that slavery had left. Black people were not thought of as white people were, and so including them in the World's Fair was a way to show that they were people too. Obviously, this did not end up being the case, and they were highly discriminated against. Ethnic Days relates to Turner by attempting to showcase the unity of America. He is quoted in saying, "Slavery was a sectional trait that would not down, but in the West it could not remain sectional. It was the greatest of frontiersmen who declared, 'I believe this government cannot endure permanently half slave and half free. It will become one thing or all the other.'" Including Black Americans demonstrates Turner's idea of America being a melting pot of cultures. Frederick Douglass represented the Haitian government at the fair. He was one of the very few Black people to represent or work at the fair. Ethnic Days relates to Frederick Douglass's speech by affirming his views that the fair was neglectful to Blacks. In his speech, he says, "The real problem has been given a false name. It is called Negro for a purpose. It is substituted Negro for nation because the one is despised and hated and the other is loved and honored. The true problem is a national problem. The problem is whether the American people have honesty enough, loyalty enough, honor enough, patriotism enough to live up to their own Constitution." In the Constitution, it says all men are created equal. But at the fair and the many years to follow, this was not the case. Blacks were treated as a spectacle and were paraded around as savages. This representation was highly inaccurate and offensive.